and sister from a month apart, actually, from same parents, a month apart, two litters. And they've been therapy bunnies for 5 years, taking on the legacy of Oreo, who was an amazing therapy bunny for 12 years, mostly going to the Ronald McDonald House.
Oh, wow. And so, have you always had bunny rabbits, or?
I've had rabbit probably for about 40, hard to say, 40 plus years. Yes, not always registered therapy. I lived with somebody who rescued a bunny, and I said, "Oh my gosh, so cute! I had a dog. I've always had dogs," and I went and got one of its siblings, and I've had bunnies ever since.
Oh, someone just said they're so cute, aren't they? How old are they? Do you know roughly?
They're about 6.5. 6.5 to 7 is the approximate age. I don't know exactly.
Okay. Oh, wow. So what are funny traits they do, or what do the children like about them when they're on visits?
Well, I think one of the things.
Sorry, just closing the window. It's a little bit loud.
I'm going to actually put them in their basket, and I take one at a time, but I'm going to just hold this up for a minute.
Oh,
they go in a
yeah,
basket like this.
Of them.
And I have, better to see them than me, decorate baskets for the holiday. This is their generic basket, which just has cute, things all around it and carrot lights on the top. So
when you go on a visit, you just take them in the basket like that?
Well, I take them in a travel cage in the car so they're safe, and one at a time. Here, of course, I have both. Maybe I'll do it like that. And then I put them in the basket, and they wear a little, kind of like a cat harness and leash. And the kids can pet them and, just play with them and learn about them. A lot of them have never seen a rabbit before, or they have one and miss it because they're not home. And it's also a big teaching thing because they're like, oh, I didn't know you could rescue a rabbit. I didn't know they were calm. Or some rabbits can be really mean. I mean, just like any animal.
Right.
So,
do you have any suggestions of where anybody else could rescue a rabbit if they're thinking about it?
Yeah, almost any shelter the lights are on. Every shelter has rabbits, especially after Easter. If you go like a week after Easter, there's lots, but most shelters have them. There's also Bunny World Foundation is a bunny rescue, and forgot the name of the other one. I mean, there's a lot. You could just put in bunny rescue, but the shelters have them, and most of them are fine. I think they're just, people think they're, like any animal, oh, it's really cute, let's get it. And then we're like, we don't want to take care of it, or the kids don't want to take care of it. And they decide, they don't want it.
Yeah.
These guys, the parents came from a swap meet, and they told the people that got them that they were the same sex. And of course they weren't. So they had babies, and the mother has babies every 28 days. So.
Oh, wow. And I saw a question earlier, I think my mum asked me, how long do bunnies live for usually?
Their average lifespan is 7 to 10 years. Oreo my first one that was a therapy bunny lived to be 12. And I think really that's because they get the extra care and just extra love. And I think they just live longer.
Yeah. Wow. So do you have any other, do you have any stories of when you were volunteering? Because obviously we want to spread awareness about that people can volunteer with any animals, any of the 9 species that we welcome. And we'd love to hear, and maybe a nice story that you have from your own experience of volunteering. So I know you've been volunteering for a long time.
I've been doing it with the rabbits for 20 years. This is my 20th year, mostly to the Ronald McDonald House. And my first visit there was actually a great one. I was on my way out, and this little boy came out. He was probably like 5 or 6, and he said, oh my gosh, I've never seen a bunny. So of course I turned around, I came back in, and I took him out, and it was just, the smile on his face was completely ear to ear, and he couldn't have been happier, and never seen a real bunny, and that's what it's about, and just giving them a moment to forget about what they're there for, you know, and be sort of normal and stuff. So,
right.
um,
So I see
and
another question here. It's how do the rabbits act on their visits? Are they outgoing, or do you have to kind of encourage them to socialize a bit?
well, you kind of, I mean, they're kind of outgoing. It depends. You know, I socialized them when I first got them and had people pet them and handle them. Ollie's joining in. But they're pretty much, you know, they'll stay in their basket or I put a blanket out on like a tabletop and they can sit on there but they're very friendly and they will let people pet them and stuff. So they don't really, I mean, mine don't do tricks and stuff, but they will play with the ball and they kind of like, they don't usually eat in front of people. I mean, like, because the kids are like, can we feed them?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can try. Sometimes they will if it's quieter and calmer. It depends. If there's, you know, 20 kids or maybe 2 kids, sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. Just depends. So.
What's the reason for that? Is it just that's just in there?
They're just private, you know, and they prefer, I mean, even when I have food out now for them and they don't want it, you know, they just like to kind of eat in their home, in their own space.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they will. And they have food all the time, so it's not like you can kind of make them hungry. But.
Well, and so how do they get along in the house with all your other animals, with the dogs and the cats?
You know what? They're fine. I just posted a picture of Newton. The white one is Newton and the brown one's Figgie with one of my cats nose to nose, and Ollie's fine with them and stuff. They just all get along. I mean, I don't leave them all out together unsupervised, but they're fine. I mean, the dog's here now. My cat is here next to me. So they're all just, because now they're jealous that I have the rabbit.
About the process of getting certified as with a rabbit and pet partners, like how was the test for that? Because obviously I only know the one for the dogs.
I'm going to just put them down for just a minute
Okay,
here. Now I'm covered in hair. Sorry. You test them for cleanliness and how you handle them. They have to go in a basket. They have to have the harness on. For mine, I think that's how they all are. Some might be in a stroller or some enclosed, you know, something to carry them in. You can't really carry them loose, and you don't want to because they get sort of, you know, they want to scurry and get anxious. So they test them for, they have different people petting them, you know, like if 3 or 4 people are petting them, are they okay? And kind of if they interact with a dog. I mean, mine are fine with anything and anybody, but there's usually a dog there and they have no response. It's usually the dog has more of a response than the rabbits. So they're kind of easier to have tested, but, you know, I imagine not all of them pass.
Right. And what's their favorite treat? We have a question. What's their favorite treat?
Their favorite treat, I'm going to see if I can, they're a little higher, is they like carrots or the carrot peels, and they don't get a lot of those because they have sugar in them, so it's like a dessert. So they like that, and fruit. Like if I cut a cantaloupe, I give them a little piece of the rind and with a little cantaloupe, and again, that's dessert.
Right.
Because it's sugar, and they like dried oats.
Oh.
And bananas. So Ollie's been a therapy dog about 3 years.
Okay, wow. Oh.
And he's my first therapy dog because all my other ones were just, I always rescue and they have somehow always had an issue, and I just know he didn't have an issue and I knew he'd be okay.
So was your first therapy animal was a dog and then you got rabbits, or?
No, it was a rabbit, was Oreo, which here, this is Oreo, the famous Oreo. I wrote a book about him. He was $2 from the Santa Monica Animal Shelter.
Can you hold up that again so everyone can see it? Because I know it's a little bit hard with the comments. If you hold it a little bit higher, yeah, that's great. And if you hold it there for a second so we can look at that. Oh. So these are one of the cards that we give them, the trading cards, right?
Yes. And then, oh, sorry, I just dropped. It's a little challenge for me. There's That's Figgie and Newton.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, hold that there so we can see it. Oh, that's sweet.
That's a new one, and that's all. And then there's Ollie's.
Oh, he's so sweet.
Thank you. So, so Oreo was my first one, and he actually has a website because I wrote a book about him, and that was 20 years ago.
That's funny. I'm actually writing a book about Dakota right now too, so I'm following in your footsteps. I'll have to ask you for advice.
Absolutely, happy to share it.
He looks so sweet. How old is Ollie?
Ollie just turned 6.
Okay. Wow. So, how do you manage to fit in all the time, like of having 3 therapy animals? I mean, that's amazing. That's like rock star status.
Well, thank you. Well, my work is flexible, so I have, I can sort of fit it in between because I could do some of my work like at night and go during the day or reverse that. I don't know. It's kind of you make what's important and satisfying somehow we find time for, right?
Exactly.
I mean, so
yeah, and I should say again to the people watching, what we're talking about is becoming a therapy animal handler team. And Marcy has 3 therapy animals, and today we're featuring her 2 bunnies and obviously Ollie as well. And the bunnies are in and out. But we're just basically spreading awareness. Here they are. They're so cute.
Yeah. I'll bring them back. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. And we're spreading awareness that Pet Partners of Southern California is looking for volunteers, and you don't just need a dog to be a therapy animal team. As we see here, there's 2 amazing therapy bunnies, and we can have therapy cats, rabbits, llamas, equine, birds, guinea pigs, pigs, and rats. So if anyone is interested in becoming a therapy animal team, they should definitely go to the website. And do you read with the children with the bunnies as well, or is that with Ollie?
I have done that. There is a place close to me right now, but yes, I have done that, and I've done it. I don't think I did it with Ollie yet, but I've done it with the rabbits, and they love it. And I have a great story. I think it was with Oreo, and there was a little girl because I used to go to a language school in Culver City, and they said, not all the kids will read something. This little girl, she said, I can't read or don't want to read. So we just sat there, and after about 10 minutes, she read an entire book to the rabbit.
Wow.
So
yes, and that brings us to now we have the program We Are All Ears. So if anyone's listening with children, they should go and check that out on the website, www.petpartners.org/SoCal, and we have the We Are All Ears program. So like what Marcy does, and you can help people can read to the animals, and it encourages the children to want to read and not have any inhibitions, basically.
Yeah, and there's no peer pressure. You don't have somebody saying, oh, you can't do that, or how come you don't know that word, and they become more helpful and critical because they're like, oh, it's so cool. And I mean, the people would sign up to read like crazy. They had way more kids wanting to read than we had space for them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
Everyone's
amazing.
Loving the bunnies. We're seeing the comments. Everyone's saying, "Oh, look at the bunnies! They're so cute," and they compliment each other.
Yeah, and it's interesting. She was the only brown one in the litter, but he's brown here, and she's like white. So they're sort of opposite, right behind their ears.
Wow. Do you see any funny differences between their personalities that you'd like to share? Like funny things they both do?
Well, it's interesting. When I first, Newton, the white one, is definitely the alpha male, and Figgie was very submissive, and she wouldn't really, he would eat first. He would always leave food for her, greens, because I feed him fresh greens,